Hey, what's up guys? Working on a 2009 Volkswagen Passat with a 2-liter turbo. Customer complaint is that the battery died, the vehicle stalled, and I think they said the battery light was on the dash. So battery is dead. I have a jump box on it. It's fired up. See what's on the dash and just go from there. So we got a check engine light on, battery lights on, and that's with a jump box on it. So let's get a reading on battery voltage. And 11.93 volts. I'm going to shut the jump box off. And 7 volts and dropping. So right now we are not charging. Turn the jump box back on. I'm just going to do some quick, easy voltage tests on the BAT post down at the alternator. And do some voltage drops on the wire that goes from the alternator to the fuse box and on the ground wire. And I believe this is a computer controlled alternator. So we'll have to make sure that we have that signal. Okay, so our battery voltage right now, 11.7 with the jump box. So going to the BAT post on the alternator, we should have that same 11.7, 11.66. So now we're going to switch our lead from battery negative to battery positive. And we're going to touch on the BAT post wire again. And a 0.02 of a voltage drop, that's good. So you want this to be as close to 0 as possible. You don't want any voltage drop. If we had some voltage drop, that means that we would be losing, voltage over the wire. We are not. So we're good there. The next would be, so our battery, black test lead now going to battery negative, and we're going to touch on the alternator case. The 0.006, that's good. No voltage drop over the ground. Our ground is good. And most likely what this needs is an alternator, but I believe this is computer controlled, so we need to make sure that we are getting a signal to the voltage regulator. And then there is going to be one more check. So let me bring up a wiring diagram. I just wanted to scan it and just make sure it was pretty much just a low voltage fault, which it is. This P0562. I also just wanted to see if there was any, alternator, communication faults, anything along the lines of that. Because where I want to connect to this alternator, it might be hard to get my leads in there. And I may have to pick a different test location. So if there were maybe any broken wires or something like that, maybe I would have communication or a generator fault, something along the lines of that, which I don't see. So looking at the wiring diagram, C and C1 would be the generator and the voltage regulator. One line goes to J519, which is the BCM. The other line that is highlighted, track 50, goes to the ECM, which is J623. So that is our field control from the ECM. The other wire going to the BCM would most likely be maybe a monitored circuit. If the BCM doesn't see the right voltage, it talks to the cluster, kicks the light on, maybe something like that. So where I want to back probe is on this pin number 2, this field control wire. And there's also a 4-pin connector. It's pin 1 right there. I may have to look for that connector because it's going to be hard to reach. So that's where I'm going next. I want to make sure I have this field control going to the alternator. So I'm just looking. I don't know if I can even get my leads in there. There's also a plastic covering blocking the pins. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to look for that 4-pin connector. Four-pin connector near the starter. That's the connector back there, and then there's like a plastic covering over the wires. So I'm looking for that 4-pin. It's somewhere down here by the starter. I may have to move this air box. Alright, so I found this 4-pin connector. Man, that is hard to see. Anyway, that's it right there. So I'm going to back probe right here and make sure we have our signal from the ECM. One of those wires right there. So I'm looking for a black with brown on this 4-pin. There it is. Should be it. That was kind of a pain to see. Let's get the scope. Alright, so on that pin, we do have a signal. So, sorry about that glare. Fire it up. So we do have a signal. So the problem is that we're not directly at the alternator, but we have no faults for the regulator. So I'm kind of assuming that the wiring would be okay from the alternator going back to this 4-pin connector. So what I want to do is unplug the voltage regulator and see if we can generate some kind of fault. Because I just can't get my pins on the back of this alternator. I'm also going to go on this other pin that goes to the BCM. I imagine it's just voltage on there. .19. That's weird. Just a flat 1.19 volt, 1.2 volts. I'm not sure what that is, honestly. It's some wire that goes to the BCM. I'm gonna see if I can reach in and unplug this. Right. Regulator's unplugged. Let's see if we have any type of voltage. Regulator fault, maybe. I'm really hoping this throws a fault. That will confirm that our wiring's okay. I just can't get my pins back there. Nope, nothing there. I may have to run it, I don't know. Fire it up. Not seeing anything. Oh. Okay. No go there. No go there. I wonder if I can reach my pin in there. To relocate my ground. 10 volts on one. So I got 10 volts on both wires with it unplugged. So if I go back to this 4-pin, if I got 10 volts on both of them, then my wiring is okay. Volts on that one. And 10 volts on that one. So my wiring from the 4-pin to the generator, the voltage regulator, is okay. I have 10 volts on the wires here. I got 10 volts on the wires there. It must cut the signal. Weird, I don't have a fault. But it just sucks because I can't get my pins in there with it plugged in. So that test is going to have to be good enough. Alright guys, one other check that I want to do. On these alternators, this pulley is a one-way pulley, meaning it will freewheel in one direction. So if the engine turns it this way, let's say clockwise, the rotor of the alternator should freewheel counterclockwise. So I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to try to stay out of your way. I'm just going to take this. And I just want to make sure that this freewheels in one direction only. Focus. I don't know if you can see that. It actually freewheels clockwise. That makes sense. So going the other way, it should not be able to spin the other way. And I can't. It does not spin the other way. So that means our pulley is good. I've seen these where the pulley is bad. It doesn't need an alternator. It needs a pulley because the one-way clutch in the pulley is faulty. So it's not actually spinning the alternator, it's just spinning the pulley. The pulley would be freewheeling on the outside of the alternator. Alright guys, so it's done deal. This car needs an alternator. We have good wiring from that 4-pin to the voltage regulator. The BAT post that goes to the battery is good. Our case ground to the battery ground is good. I didn't like how we had to check that. I just couldn't get my pins back there. Also, the one-way clutch on the pulley is good. So this vehicle needs an alternator. It's not charging. I have a different alternator here. This isn't for this car. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get you an aftershot, but I just wanted to show you a better look at how this freewheels. So I can hold this, I can hold the rotor and spin this, but if I go this way, it spins the rotor. If I go that way, I crush my finger. If I go that way, it freewheels. So I think it's just to avoid overspinning and overcharging. But this is not for this car. I just wanted to show you the clutch in the pulley. I'm not sure about an aftershot, but this car needs an alternator. You guys need to be doing all these checks. These things are super expensive. So I'm not sure. Gotta wait for it okay. If not, take my word for it, an alternator will fix this car. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.